Oh, he wants a quick end to this series. One and all, welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to the Midweek Muster Finals. Week number 3 here, and we are in what could be the last game of the series. Puppy Paw going for that pesky Roost Spearman opening that, if you remember, he used against Dumu in the semi-finals. That was a Malian matchup, though, a very different game. Here, it's against the Delhi, and I'm kind of wondering why. Delhi, this makes less sense because we've seen before, like, Mongols have this issue against Delhi as well, where, like, it just doesn't do anything, right? You could try to outpost rush them. If you get the outpost up, great, but if you're too aggressive with the placement, Wham can just pull the villagers and shiv, and you always have a scholar to heal any damage done. Yeah, this is pretty cool, though. I am loving this new edition of Puppy Paw, even more aggressive than the last. I've said this about them before, right? Wham's a bit more defensive, Puppy Paw's a bit more aggressive, but they both historically like playing for that mid-game macro. This series has felt more like Puppy Paw, for the most, whenever it is an opportunity to, is just trying to close the game by 10 minutes. The Scholar is going to be there to heal. I'm a little bit surprised he's going for the shivs out, though. Because the problem now is if Wham's going Dome of Faith, I mean, whoopsie daisy, right? Like, how are you actually going to be able to afford any of the Scholars? So, unless this is a Tower of Victory build, which is possible here, Tower of Victory would be very intriguing. It's a good map for it. The infantry can build up the palisades and the choke points, and you've got a short distance to rush to your opponent's base. And also, like, your opponent has spent a lot on spears already, so you're obliged to go into archers anyway. Why not make them better archers? Scholar is being held next to the villagers just to keep them alive. That is going to slow down the wheelbarrow timing a lot, though. Still, it's 4 spears. I don't think you can keep gathering these loose berries. This is ambitious. Also needs to be careful because the Scholar could get pinched. Yeah, smart move there. Wham backs up just a little bit. No wood, so actually Wham, he can't repair this mill. Wheelbarrow is still 2 minutes away. Denying Wheelbarrow is actually a really big deal from the Delhi build. Moment of truth, it's Dome of Faith. He doesn't care. He's going for it anyway. Okay, so believes he'll get access again no matter what. Wood gathering is now underway. I mean, do you repair it, or do you just need an archer timing too quickly here? I feel like you have to repair it, right? He's letting it go. He's sacking it. Okay, so that's pretty vicious. No wheelbarrow. He's going to have to put a new mill. I guess he felt it wasn't worth the idle time plus the repair cost versus building a new mill because it would have got torched again. Other side, we've got the atypical play, and this is vicious, guys. What Puppy Paw is doing with the Roost here is equivocal to what China does to Delhi in this matchup. Dropping the Kremlin like this is to deny him gathering on the sacred site. And I think it's a bit deceptive because of the terrain, but I do believe Kremlin maybe reaches the full range. It might be just out there, so there might be hope for Wham. But what this stops him from doing is walling aggressively to block the short ramp for Puppy Paw, which means for a guy who's clearly open with aggression, he could continue with aggression if he chooses. However, it seems instead we might have 2 TC against Delhi? Delhi Dome of Faith. 2 TC. I mean, I guess if it was Tower of Victory, it'd be more scary to do 2 TC. Also, like, in fairness, this Kremlin protects a lot. Then again, he didn't luck out. He didn't get, like, the 4 deer spawn you sometimes get here. So, food-wise, he's quite exposed on the flanks. He's got 12 sheep to work with compared to 15. So actually, I think Wham's in a reasonable position against this 2 TC play. His timings are a little bit off. It definitely hurts. But he can play catch-up now, and wow, he isn't going to be opening with a Ghazi. He feels like he has to go for the archers. He knows about the Kremlin, right? I don't think he's scouted it yet. I think he's going to feel a little bit bad about the archer choice when he sees it. Puppy Paw just getting the read of the land here because he didn't scout this backside, so he's going to be able to discover the deer. He's going to be very happy with this spawn, actually. Right behind his base, and your opponent hasn't gone Ghazi. It's the dream. Not just that, actually. Puppy Paw might shove these deer all the way in. Even if he gets them just here, that hunting cabin is going to be insanely valuable. Like, even just shoving them against the tree line here is worth it. But yeah, the Puppy Paw classic. Spears, now shoving in the deer. And Wham, completely out of position with his scout, will not be able to quickly intercept that. In fact, did he just check for it on the map? Yeah, he just saw the deer moving. Oh, I love how these two changed the game, right? Like, the way that people think about deer now, you have to be looking through the fog. Remember, you can see through the fog of war to see guy units moving. You also see when they die. And looks like Puppy Paw, he already knew it was coming. Pulls the spears to intercept. Yeah, if the scout hangs around to kill here, he's going to die. He's already half HP. He's trying to shove them around. Nice surround there. One hit remaining, so it means he can just chase them back. Deer are going to be moved in the hunting cabin. Oh, okay. So he doesn't even go for the TC or the hunting cabin play. He's going to shove them all the way to the primary. Damn, that could not have went much better. TC on the gold, TC on the trees. Hasn't got the wooden fortress, so we'll have to go back for that to get the buffed rate. But in fairness, he doesn't need to rush wood. He has done a great job min-maxing this spawn using this small tree line in front. Archers have now arrived, though, and Puppy Paw needs to pull more villagers. Archers are at least going to get distracted by the spear. That's going to buy time for Puppy Paw to just keep building this up. I think this is fine for him, right? Like, you can maybe afford to lose one villager, two villagers, but I don't think he even needs to here. Archer's a little bit overzealous with the dive. Got a little bit too close. So, town center up. Puppy Paw did not lose a damn thing for this play. Other than, what, one spear, which is just, I mean, you know the spears are eventually going to die, right? They've already served their purpose. A little bit of a scramble on the deer in the end. Didn't manage to get the final two in. We'll push that one close enough, at least. We do have stables now playing. Interestingly enough, Wham has done something very unthinkable with Dome of Faith build. He has not gone Ghazi whatsoever. It's just spears and archers. Double blacksmiths. So looking to get a really big edge, but there we go. I was about to say, please queue up. We've been here before. So Steeled Arrow under measure on the way. This is going to be a very aggressive ram rush timing. Hello, hello, Joro. The man who loves his Age of Empires 2. When's he going to hop on for some AoE 4? First night coming in. Is Wham going to be exposed anytime soon? Deer Berry's really open. Not easily just securable. The best area for him is down here, but that's like a secondary hop afterwards, right? He has at least got the walls coming up there. This is the beautiful thing about playing Delhi. Your ability to build walls with your infantry. And he's played wide, right? He has to, but he's done it at a very early stage of the game. Pretty smart considering Puppy Paw is likely to react with archers. If he's going to go knights, they're slow to actually build anyway, right? Like, there's no world in which Puppy Paw masses 20 spears now. Yeah, almost feels intentional the way Wham played this, where by not going Ghazi, he gave no value to spears. Ergo, he gave value to his walls. So what's Puppy Paw's real intent here? Feudal all-in or castle? I feel like usually in the Delhi matchup, you just want to try to find a way out to castle, but with this new era of Dome of Faith builds, that doesn't feel like a safe choice. The ludicrousness of the Delhi is just how quickly they unlock all these techs, right? You know, they scale up to 10, 11 scholars, and then they naturally tech, and all of a sudden these castle age techs that cost other people an arm and a leg, right, at 350 resources each, you're just leaking into your builds in like a minute 150? Something like that, or minute 1.5 rather. It's ludicrous how well this scholar build scales. And then don't get me started on Imperial. Imperial is where it makes me want to vomit how efficient Delhi are. So, archers are going to show up on the top side. But there's that blocker we talked about, right? Like, Puppy Paw now has all these archers. He doesn't have a clean, quick way of burning in. So that's going to buy extra time for Wham to accrue resources here. Unless... Was he a bit too optimal? No. Okay. I thought for a second maybe that knight could edge onto the side. But no, he has protected it slightly. I don't know if it's possible to do that. To wall close enough to the sacred site that a unit can decap through the wall. Anyway, decap is on the way, as is the defense force. Wham's coming in. Sacred Site trying to be captured in the center. Wham. Oh, he pulled the scholars to try and heal underneath the Kremlin. A cool idea. Unfortunately, Puppy Paw did have extra troops nearby. Flash coming in just before he could break through the wall here, though. And this is tricky, right? Like, against any other Civ, aha, he has to bring a villager out. No. Once this finishes, Wham will just rebuild it with the spears and archers. And yeah, old Kremlin would have, right? I think Kremlin used to have 8-tower range from what I remember. New Kremlin, not quite able to. And of course, he couldn't jam it in there any further. Too much of a big boy to fit in that gap. Although, I'm not going to lie, that looks like such a fake, fake cliffside. We do have a small Kremlin pull on the way. It shouldn't be too threatening. We've got the siege engineering being prepped, so Wham is looking to break the center soon. This is really important. You know, he's got 2 sacred sites, sure, but he hasn't begun his tick and time bomb, and his opponent is playing 2 TC. So you need to either get the 3rd sacred site and force your opponent to bad fights, or you need to play for some greed yourself. He's going for the former. There's the Scholar Boys out healing. You know what? Kremlin nerf worked. I think we can agree. Bit of a weird bait, though, by Wham. Doesn't really feel like the type of bait you want to engage in. Huh? Yeah, you don't want to be baiting knights to you when you're in this situation. I get it, though, right? Like, he has Steeled Arrow. His opponent doesn't have Undermesh. He's trying to punish that, but that could have went really badly for him. It's going to force him to now dive the other way, but Sacred Site is now locked in. Meanwhile, north side, Poppy Paul losing the fight there. He's losing fights everywhere here. And look at the difference suddenly. Some of that in Scholars, but most of that is just raw military power. And this is a really cool dynamic. Now that he's captured the Sacred Site, Poppy Paul has to step on it. Archers can stand here and kill him. So all of a sudden, Kremlin OP, no, now it's Archer Blob OP. It's about to get a lot worse for Poppy Paul. Rams now being propped. Prepped. Really has been a long day. Quadruple archer range, but this is tricky, right? Like, your opponent on the other side has double archer range, and he could mirror your production if he just garrisons the Scholars. We also do have the Pro Scouts shoveling the goodies back to safety in the base, so even a Knight Raid in the flank shouldn't be too effective here. I'm getting a funny feeling we might be going to a game number 7. Where are my KP hypes in the chat? And KP Pogs? You guys want a game 7? Want to go all the distance? What map have we got left to play? My mind is blanking right now. Rams moving in. Also going to shove this away to give the space. The Archers are going to go for the dive. It's not Tower Victory, but they don't need it. Quantity is on their side. Kremlin's going to take a while to break here. The Scholars making sure he can last a while. Look at this. The Kremlin doesn't do enough damage. Underwhelming in this position. Poppy Paul having to treat to the primary TC here. Garrison's 12 villagers, but that's less villagers now working through your economy right now, while the Sacred Site timer is ticking down. Good pressure here. Wham. He can even back off at this stage towards the Rams to just cover the breakdown here. And that's going to open the floodgates onto the Archer Rangers next. In this situation, Poppy Paul has no way of dealing with these 2 Rams. He lost all the Knights. His villagers can't run into this mess. He only has Archers to defend. It's 13 apiece. Difference, of course, being those Scholars, and also the fact that it's not really 13 apiece. It's just 13 in this fight. There's a reinforcing wave of 10 coming in. Ghazi to assist as well. Kremlin is down. And a frown must be upon Poppy Paul's face because he knows this one is going to take a full 7 games. The boy's been broken. A BO1 barn burner to decide it all here. Because Poppy Paul, despite the fact he has 22 economy lead, he just doesn't have the raw military punch to break through this. And with the Sacred Site timer ticking down, he can't wait out the pain either. Yeah, it's forcing him to just commit, right? And also the 4 production making it even worse. If he did forfeit this area, he loses 4 archery ranges, he loses the production advantage entirely. Not that he really ever had it. Slight overextension from the Scholars, but nice reset here. I mean, this is cool. We're used to seeing the Scholars used for this tech build, but this was just an all-in, a very clean all-in. Wow, the way he split the map north and south. I mean, we said this is kind of reminiscent of China. The matchup is brutal, but the difference here is China would have Zhuge Nu ramming repeater crossbows down your throat. Rus, they got plastic arrows, man. I mean, sure, you essentially have 20% more wood to play with, so cool. But the reality check here is you went 2 TC against a very production-heavy Civ in the other game and got punished for it. Well, archer count 17 to 21, but you're just seeing we're going to reach a point in the next few kills where he won't get a one-hit kill, and the Skulls are going to heal it up. If we even get to that. Ghazi now arriving as well. Rams moving in under the houses, under anything they can find. And all Wham needs to keep doing is meat grinding into this. Needs to be a little bit careful to trade somewhat efficiently because, remember, Puppy Paw's building a lead. But that lead is ugly, man. The way he's having to play farms here instead of pocket resources is grim. Scouts are even checking for it. I mean, that's another crazy thing. He has to build farms, he has to gather berries. Meanwhile, Wham has survival techniques and is eating deer via the Pro Scouts play. That difference in food is making up for this gap. Ghazi, of course, not too bad at dealing with Knight Siva, right? With the +2 damage, the higher base damage. Just feels like Wham has got the perfectly dimensioned strat here. Scholars to heal, blob archers, just enough Ghazi to distract. Pretty much the bread and butter of Delhi time and time again. At this stage, I think Puppy Paw is just processing the loss. He's looking for a desperate out, but that out is not going to come the way he thinks it is. Raid on the flank. Outpost will be able to protect a few, but the rest are out in no man's land. Second Wooden Fortress trying to be rushed up here. Ghazi should get sniped down eventually, but I mean, even if you get the double outpost up, what are you going to be able to do here? There will be no gathering allowed in this neighborhood. Ghazi clubbed down a few more. Meanwhile, the deer just being yoinked away. At this point, all he needs to do is mop up the archers, build one ram, and send it south. What a cool build. What do you guys think? Kremlin no longer OP? Is Kremlin just the piece of crap on the bottom of your boot you want to scrape off? Is there still a place for this landmark? I've noticed we had a few games recently with Golden Gate being picked where people were like, if you just gone Kremlin, this game would have been easy. But this, I mean, this difference of one range really did just cripple the ability for Puppy Paw to stop Wham from achieving that win condition. Turned into a really frustrating affair. Gave an incredible edge over to the Delhi here. Do we blame the range, though, or do we just blame that scam of a cliff, you know? Stopping him from getting just an inch further in there. Well, either way, let me know what you think in the comments, because I think if Puppy Paw loses this location, he'll likely call it, right? There's no other food source. His farm count is 6. He's already exhausted pretty much everything else. The berries are on their last legs. Soon, so will these outposts. Double ram now moving in. It forces Puppy Paw to react, but the archers will counter that, guys. The rams will deal with the outposts. He's happy and content to stand here because the heal influx. There is no castle turrets. There's no easy immediate kill. And also, he just now got baited out of position. The Ghazi jump in. Archers chase for the high hills. Behind this, the villagers have to be pulled, but that's an outpost down, and there's not enough room in this inn. 5 more are going to be sent to the afterlife. That eco lead no longer building for Puppy Paw. 3 minutes until a Sacred Site victory that seems undeniable, and it means that Puppy Paw will concede. Game 6 to Wham. We are going the full mile here in Midweek Muster number 3's Grand Finals. Let me know what civs you think we're going to see in the final game here. I'm going to give you a little bit of a preview, a little bit of a teaser. The final map is going to be Coastal Cliffs. Get your guesses in, and I'll see you all in the next chapter.